Welcome to the Stanley Cup Final, Edmonton Oilers. Holy hell, a dominant performance from the Oilers as they woke up in Game 4. And again, I do want to say, I said they woke up. They still play, they've played well in this series. I thought they were the better team for large stretches of Game 1 and of Game 3, and just didn't get the results they wanted. Well, they got the results they wanted. They were the faster team in this game, and they were winning all of those battles. The more desperate team played like it, and you had a lot of players step up in this game. And look, there have been times when Florida is going well, they are out-muscling the Oilers. You think of the Barkov play, stealing it away from Bouchard, and driving things up the ice, setting up a goal. You think about some of the other turnovers that have happened off of the aggressive forecheck for the Florida Panthers. They have, I think, at times outmuscled Edmonton. Edmonton was doing the muscling in this game, and they were the faster team, and so that really helped keep them alive in this one. But again, it wasn't just a absolute onslaught. There was a very key moment in this game. Edmonton is on fire. They are up 2-0, and then Florida answers. It's a CC turnover at the blue line, Forsling a long shot, Tarasenko wins in front, gets the deflection, and all of a sudden, it feels like everything is going Edmonton's way, and they're within one. Or Florida's within one, and there's still 50 minutes of hockey left to go. And then Bennett is busting down on a 2-on-1, feathers it across, Verhaeghe with a perfect chance, and Skinner comes across and makes the biggest save of his life with a phenomenal sprawling glove save. Verhaeghe shot it back into him a little bit, but still, Skinner was there to make a huge stop, absolutely robbing Verhaeghe. If Florida scores in that moment, all the momentum from Edmonton's hot start is gone. The building is deflated, and now the Panthers can smell blood, and they can smell it on the Stanley Cup. And I genuinely wonder if Florida is hoisting the cup today, or I guess parading with it. They'd probably be done hoisting it by now. But if they're parading with it around today, if they had a goal in that moment. Instead, this is now a moment that continues to build that momentum. It continues to spark the Oilers. They get another goal that period, 1,000 after that, and pick up an 8-1 win. So that felt to me like a key moment, and Skinner really putting his stamp on this game and on this series. But this type of a performance needs to be the norm now for Edmonton. The effort, the speed, the execution has to be there for the 3 more games. They have to win those types of battles so that they can then turn these games into the type of track meets that they want to. And I think at times we have kind of talked about them being a bit of a low event team when they get a lead and kind of just dribbling the air out of the basketball. That wasn't this game. They came out and they were not going to let up. And I think that kind of needs to be the same here in Game 5 coming up tomorrow, where that pressure needs to be relentless. And like, because their speed game is obviously incredible, but they've definitely lost more than their fair share of puck battles, and I think that has come back to haunt them. And even in this game, like I talked about, CC was just far too soft trying to get that puck out of the zone, and it immediately leads to a Florida goal. They have had problems with the forecheck. Those need to go away for Edmonton to get back into this one. But one big thing that happened in this game, and look, they scored 8. Everything went their way. But you had the depth players step up. And yes, like until McDavid scored to make it 4-1, it has exclusively been depth players stepping up to score. But it was depth players scoring off of great efforts from players like McDavid and Draisaitl and stuff like that. But this was like Janmark from the word go was fantastic, setting up an early Ekholm chance like 13 seconds in, and then setting up another goal in front. And you have Henrique, who I thought was really, really good. Holloway steps up in a big game with a big goal. Fogel is a part of things. He eats an absolute monstrous hit from Ekblad that helped set up Connor McDavid's goal that really did kind of seal this one away. And that is something these guys need. Like, McDavid has been excellent. Draisaitl hasn't been. Hyman has been really good. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins hasn't been. And then everyone else has been really, really quiet. This was a full team effort for the first time in the Cup Final for Edmonton. And I think that is massive for these guys going forward. And this was a Connor McDavid game. And it's the first time we have it in the Stanley Cup. I talked about it on Game Over and then on here after Game 3. What he did in the offensive zone, getting Edmonton back into that game with his puck retrieval, his use of speed, and his playmaking ability was exceptional. And then it's back in this one. And I think this was really the one that put like the highlight of like that this was a Connor McDavid game. And even if Florida wins, which, again, odds would suggest they will. Even if Florida wins, this feels like it's the Connor McDavid series. And it kind of, like, you harken back to when Edmonton beat the Islanders to win the Stanley Cup. Or, sorry, lost to the Islanders to win in the Stanley Cup back in the early 80s. But it still felt like, okay, their time is coming. This kind of feels like it here, where McDavid, maybe he comes up short, but he is having the best run at the biggest time, and it has been truly a treat to watch. And we talked about this in the NBA, where Boston, like, yeah, it would be better if you put it away at home, but even if you have to go win one in Dallas, it's whatever. This one feels big for Florida coming up here. Another trip back to Edmonton would be really, really difficult for this team to handle, I think. And I wouldn't want to face Edmonton in Edmonton again, and I certainly wouldn't want to face Connor McDavid in a Game 7. So I am not going to go so far as to say must win, but I think there is quite a bit of pressure on the Florida Panthers to hoist that shiny thing coming up tomorrow out in Sunrise, because if it doesn't work then, it's going to be really, really tricky the rest of the way.